Hello everyone, and welcome to Kimball's Curiosity. And the curiosity that I'm going to talk about is the cancellation of the Pacific National Exhibition, as well as the potential loss of the Canadian Football League season this year. Because of the cancellation of the PNE, I expect in the next couple of weeks that the Canadian Football League probably will be in jeopardy of having a season. Regarding the statement of our provincial health officer, I'm pretty sure the other provinces are in the same idea of not having large events. I could be wrong, but when one province says something, the others usually follow. And that's sad because right now, the PNE, after it released its statement, has been asking the Canadian and provincial governments to help them survive. The PNE is now $15 million in debt because they had to cancel last season, and they had to cancel this season because it was cheaper to cancel it than plan for a possibility of opening in August, with no clear-cut plan from the provincial government in regards to the economic recovery from this pandemic. Now, I'm going to show you the statement here so that you get an idea. And I'm going to zoom it up a little bit more for us. With heavy hearts, the following much consideration and discussion, management of the PNE is announcing that even a modified low-capacity in-person PNE fair would not be possible in 2021. And I'm assuming, oops, just give me a second here. I got this up here. There we go. I am assuming that the numbers were pretty small from my feelings from the statement from Dr. Bonnie Henry. Despite our planning for a number of scalable versions of the PNE fair, it is now clear that the number of guests required to make an in-person fair financially viable will not be allowed under the anticipated public health orders this summer. And I've stated in my previous video why I disagree with this. But that's not what I'm talking about here now. I'm going to get into a little bit further what I'm bringing this up for. We understand the implications of this decision we have on our staff team, our exhibitors, concession partners, as well as hundreds and thousands of annual guests with whom we look for ways to connect once the information about the summertime health orders will allow. All right, I'm going to skip over a few things. As the largest employer of youth in the province, they are, and again, I mentioned that in my previous video, the PNE is a vital first job employer for generations of British Columbians. I know many friends who worked their first job at the PNE. I never had the opportunity to work in the PNE because I lived up north, but I would have. I probably would have, because it's a good job, get to know people, have a camaraderie with your young crowd that you work with. But for 2 years now in a row, they're not going to have that. And this has financial implications. In total, the PNE employs 4,300 direct and up to 9,500 indirect jobs, including 4,200 QP members. That is a lot of numbers in regards for summertime employment. 4,300 direct jobs. Those are students that are losing out. Not everybody's students, because they got to hire some people over 18 to serve alcohol and stuff like that. Or sorry, over 19 to serve alcohol. 18's Alberta. Anyways, this losing the second year of the PNE fair is a massive loss of much needed employment for our members, says CUPE. We are deeply concerned about the thousands of CUPE members that depend on the fair each summer, and they get union wages, and it's fairly decent wages. And these are usually the older crowd, like the ones over 19 that get these high-paying jobs. I'm not saying high-paying jobs, I'm saying relative high-paying jobs. For 110 years, this is what I'm getting at. 110 years the PNE has ran. And it's only been shut down, I think, twice beforehand during World War II. And maybe World War I. I'm not sure. But anyways. What's interesting is that the PNE, I think it says here, was in talks. No, I don't think it does. Founded in 1910, the PNE's home in his Hastings Park, amusement park, as well as agriculture events, because it was a large farming community around the Lower Mainland at the time. And unfortunately now it's shut down, but the PNE still has playland, amusement park, park care and facility maintenance, and an expensive portfolio of year-round events. These revenues during the year-round events helped them pay for the bills, and that dried up during the pandemic. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that they had to shut down. But what's even more unfortunate is them asking for some help. And both the provincial and the federal government have not responded. This is now the second Canadian institute that has asked for money, and basically the federal and the provincial government have not responded. One of them was the Vancouver Aquarium, which was a non-profit society, which is now under the control of a American amusement company, a for-profit company. And even though they promised that they would keep the non-profit funded, I can guarantee you when the chips are down and the money's drying up, the first thing that's going to go is the money towards the non-profit organization, which has done immense ocean-wise work, along ocean studies along the BC coast, as well as rescue marine mammals, and they were let go. No crickets from the provincial and federal government, other than, oh yeah, you can access this stuff here, the business opportunities and stuff like that. Well, these are Canadian institutions. They've been around. The CFL, like I said, the CFL last year went to the Canadian government and they made them jump through hoops. And yeah, I understand that you don't want to sign over a blank check and you want something in return. I agree with that. However, here we are, the second year, and the PNE is going to lose out. They came hand and foot the first year, nothing. But yet, the Canadian government can go around and sit there and pay Air Canada money to make them financially viable and survive, and Air Transat, but they cannot help a Canadian icon, both the CFL and the Pacific National Exhibition. The CFL does not have the TV revenue that the NFL has. They rely on fans in the stands. I am a CFL fan. I've always been. I grew up with the CFL, watching the Grey Cup. And quite frankly, I enjoy it. I find the Grey Cup more exciting than the Super Bowl. I can count the number of times the Super Bowl has been a close game where you're a nail biter. CFL, I can count the number of times that it was a blowout. Yeah, there's only X amount of teams, and these guys are not high-paying players, and that's where they all go to the NFL to make the big bucks. But the people that play in the CFL, the football players, are there to play football. They want to play football because they're not making the big bucks that the NFL players make, even on the practice roster. The people on the practice roster in the NFL probably make more money than the main players of the CFL. But those players of the CFL are there to play the game because they enjoy the game. And that's why I like it, because they are there to play the game. They enjoy the game. Anyways, that's my rant, because I expect that there will not be another CFL season this year, and it will not survive. It will not survive. And if the government does not step up, both the provincials and the federal governments, to help the CFL, it will go down and be lost. And it's a Canadian icon institution, and that should be saved, in my opinion. Now, I can understand if there was no COVID and they were losing money and they were coming to the government for hand and foot because they're not getting the money from the fans. Then I can understand letting it, fold. Right now, they're looking at viable options to join the XFL, which, in my opinion, is going to dilute the history and I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, but I can't think of it right now. But the history of the CFL is in jeopardy with joining the XFL. I know Dwayne Johnson has good intentions, but unfortunately, Dwayne, the CFL should be left as the CFL. There's just, again, my opinion. Anyways, if you like my video, smash the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Leave comments. Please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. All right, take care and peace out.